Hi, I'm Elizabeth Vasquez, and I am here on Thursday at the end of the chapter, the 2012 La Salette chapter. And we wanted to give you our last summary for this year. This morning the session started with a very moving profession of faith by Father Skip as he takes his new position as the Provincial Superior. And then the chapter moved into affirmative discernment, appreciative discernment planning, and it took the ideas that came from the vision, the bold propositions that came from the vision statement last year, and developed them into actionable ideas, of which several were reported and are very exciting and are going to make for a very wonderful couple of years of effort. Those ideas will be sent to the CB for prioritization, and then there will be tested out in the regional meetings, so you'll be hearing about them as we go through the year. The chapter was closed by Father Hendrick, who's the president of the chapter. And I'm here with Father Roland, and he is going to share some of his impressions about the chapter so you can get a feeling for what it was like to be here. And then we'll hear from Father Ron and then from Father William. So, Father Roland.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This chapter, like most chapters, has really been a time of grace. It is what we call in our congregation, in the rule, a time of brotherhood, a time of decision making, a time when really we should be looking within ourselves as best we can to understand our allegiance and commitment in the congregation, but as well to look outside of ourselves to the brotherhood, to see the ties that bind us together. And there's many ways that that's expressed in a chapter, I feel. Certainly in the preparation that went into it. Our CB, our Provincial Council, outgoing Provincial Council, put a lot of time into preparing this chapter. It put us squarely facing the questions that are ours today in the province. But once the chapter starts, it has a life of its own. And what usually happens, and what did happen this time, is there's a certain joy and happiness in being together. There's the experience of seeing some brothers that we've not seen for some time, coming from various parts of the country and even from South America. It's a time, I think, of socialization. The time when we spend together at the social hour is an important time of connecting with each other. But also the time of prayer, and I'm always struck at Mass when we sing together in that relatively small room. There's a sense of unity in our voice that always lifts my spirits, and I think that is one of the graces of the chapter. Now this morning we finished our chapter and we were working with appreciative discernment, and I happened to be in the group which was working with the laity. And I was very much struck with the papers that I received, as well as when reading the results of the general chapter, that the emphasis on the laity is clear and unmistakable. And I really feel that we're at the edge now of making some giant steps, I think, in the structures that we have to include laity more directly and to use them and use their insights for modifications in our ministry, our style, and how we live and share the charism. I think they, being the recipients of it, have some ideas that can help us in that. So I found the working in that particular subgroup to be very interesting and challenging. So that's some of my overall impressions.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Those are that's a nice overview. He's captured the feelings of being here, the important spiritual experience of being here, the brotherhood, and the actual work of the chapter. You dealt with some difficult issues, and then today did some very creative kind of planning. So thanks so much, Father Roland.
You're very welcome.
Good. And now we'd like to get some thoughts from Father William about his experience at the chapter this week.
Wonderful. Every year I come to the assembly, and especially a chapter. It's always a wonderful, rejuvenating time for me as a member of the La Salette Missionaries. It has been a very enriching experience for me, especially this chapter, because I'm so proud to be part of the discernment process, appreciative discernment process that we began 3 years ago, and I was able to grow with it. So this was at this chapter I saw how that discernment process is sinking into the membership slowly. There was much warmth and participation, more participation at sharings around the table, and people were very enthused to share about, to identify the graces, the blessings that we have in our community. A lot of times in the past, some time ago, I have heard these assemblies were used to air out some of our complaints and frustrations, which probably is still part of our life. But I think we are now looking beyond that, and we are able to recognize the gifts of each member and even the leadership. And I think that has been a great gift, an achievement for us as a community. And it was clearly seen in this chapter. Then secondly, I was very excited about the team, the leadership that is in place right now. I think three of them, they bring in tremendous gift to the community. They will, and they're going to be very decisive and very motivated, and also spiritual and prayerful, and a focus on the youth also. I like that idea when they chose Ted, with all the experience that he has with the young people. I think that is a very important thing that we need to focus, especially for younger priests like me, to identify with the leadership and take ownership of leadership for us also. So I'm happy to see that. And another important thing that touched me is there was an interest to have gatherings of young priests, and also opportunity to listen to the senior religious stories. It was proposed on the table. So I hope things like that will materialize in the future. So
that's nice.
Yeah, and fraternity, was very well visible in celebration, the liturgy, in sharings, even outside the conference hall. There was another thing is I didn't notice much tension this year. It was, the spirit was there, and there was not much tension in the chapter room. People were very open-minded. I think God is truly working through us, and the spirit was really present in our community, and hopefully we will grow with that grace that we have discovered, and we will keep dreaming for the future, and we will try to implement some of the things, and we need to take actions. It is important to make decisions, and some decisions should come soon than later, and I'm hoping those things will happen in the spirit of this chapter. And I really appreciate everyone who took time to come to the chapter, and also all those who are praying and showing interest in this, because this is our community, this is our future, we form our future.
Excellent, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks
You're
so much,
welcome.
Father
Thank
William
you.
Cagliaden. And now we'd like to get Father Ron Gagne's impressions of the chapter this week. Father Ron.
I've been involved in the organization and process of the chapter. Worked a couple of months with two other facilitators, and it was very interesting because I had lots of hopes about the chapter and how it would go. When our guys came together, again, that fraternity that you can't plan and you can't make happen, happened, of course. People with long histories of other people being able to share where and update where people are and what they're doing and what's new in their lives. So it was an event of community just to gather. As we prayed together, there were a few times where some of the hymns just sort of were really wonderful, and I had a little tear in my eye because of the people gathered and their expressive singing. We apparently, from the hotel, telling us we sing very well together, and that's a wonderful thing as a musician. I enjoy that that's something that people know about us. And when we worship, we're very expressive, very personal. Our general intercessions that we share are very good. And many of the sharings that I remember during the chapter were Joe Bashan's homily, in which he talked about his own history with La Salette and his own looking at his own changing view of how God leads us. The bishop who came, Bishop Newman, who came, was a wonderful gift on Wednesday. He came with just his zucchetta and himself, and this was his second Mass of the day, and he was just very warm and welcoming as well to us, to his diocese, and he was most proud of the La Salettes, including Father Norman and Father Nadeau and Father Joe O'Neill, and the history of the La Salettes, and I'm proud to say that I was part of that history here in Orlando. He was very, very enamored with his getting to know us as a community through our own membership and how well we serve and how active we are. For myself, the process of appreciative discernment is a wonderful process to personally be able to absorb what the Lord is saying to us, and then to try to share personal experiences and my faith and my hopes for our community and its mission. As much as diminishment is a concern with everyone, our life is more of a concern. And so our commitment, as I've learned when I was a young boy in Our Lady of Sorrows, seeing all these La Salettes walking around from the seminary and from the parish, I got to know them and wanted to become one of them, not thinking that I ever would, and here I am. For our time here in Orlando, the hotel has been a welcome guest too, so we are welcoming people as La Salettes, but they welcome us genuinely. Some are our own parishioners, in fact. For my, I guess the bottom line of my experiences during this week has been to try to appreciate who we are and where we're going. The appreciative discernment model helped us in very simple, gentle, direct ways to be able to plan for our future and the many possibilities that we have, because we are truly talented and gifted people. So time to celebrate. Tonight we'll be celebrating with our Jubilee Mass, and I enjoy that a lot. We have people coming who are students with Father Ted Brown over at Long Island University, and I was just listening to their music, and it's terrific. So we should have just a wonderful celebration with ourselves and those who support us, the students who have come a long way just to be with us. They came last year and they enjoyed it so much they wanted to come back. So it's truly a La Salette event, an event of expectations, an event of coming close to Mary and her son, and of trying to appreciate the call that we all have from many countries around the world to make her message known.
Thank you so much, Father Ron. And we're hoping that the reflections of Father Roland, Father William, and Father Ron will also help you all appreciate what it was like being here this week, and maybe encourage some of you to come next year when we have the assembly again. Thanks so much.